Hey guys, Trim Keto Mama here. I wanted to come and talk to you today about how to read a nutrition label and some of the common foods that I think it's really easy to get extra carbs in or extra fat in that you aren't realizing, especially if you're not measuring. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is sauces. So things like buffalo sauce or ranch, things that are keto approved or at least low carb approved, they're really easy. Like they look super low carb, right? It says it has 1 carb, but you have to look at the per serving. So I'm going to bring this up here. So right here it says nutrition facts, and then it tells you per serving, right? And it says what? Serving size, 1 tablespoon. How many of you guys use 1 tablespoon of anything? Probably not many, unless it's butter in a recipe. But guys, if you're not measuring, you're probably getting 2 or 3 or 4 tablespoons. So that would not be 1 carb, right? So you've got to make sure you're looking at your per serving on the label. Now, this one's a pretty easy one to read because there's no fiber, there's no erythritol or sugar alcohols. But so this one's a pretty easy label to read, but make sure you check, especially with sauces, the per serving. Now, I believe ranch is 2 tablespoons in a serving. So some of them change and they get tricky on you. You're like, oh, cool, this one's 1 carb. But and you go back and look at the serving size, it's 1 tablespoon versus 2. So you've got to watch that in any facet. Like Olive Garden has a Italian dressing and theirs is 2 tablespoons. And so like they're just different. So you've got to make sure you look at not only the carb count and if there's fiber and other things, but the serving size. So make sure you're measuring, or at least, you're not just counting the 1 here if you had 2 or 3 servings. So that's one I wanted to talk about. Love this on wings, by the way. Okay, so another one would be heavy whipping cream. So this is another one that's really easy to overuse. So the carbs and especially the fat can add up faster than what you think. So let me show you here. It has 5 grams of fat per 1 tablespoon, okay? So that's something to keep in mind. And then down here, it says less than 1 gram. So less than 1 gram of carbohydrates per serving, not bad, but you also want to be mindful of the fat, because if you're just like, you like creamer in your coffee and you just do one of these numbers, you might have like 15 or 20 grams of fat from this instead of 5. Okay, so just be mindful. Guys, bulletproof coffee and fat coffee is great for a ketogenic lifestyle, but you still have to be mindful of the amount of fat you're using. And if you're not measuring, it can stall you if you're getting more fat than what you're tracking, okay? So want to make sure you're mindful on your heavy whipping cream. Okay, so this is also another nutrition label. It's fairly easy to read to know exactly how many carbs is in it because there's no fiber, no sugar alcohols, things like that you can minus off. Okay, so now I'm going to show you one that does have fiber. Guys, nuts is another one that can kind of sneak in there, and you can get too many carbs and fat from nuts, because if you're not measuring out 1/4 of a cup or 1/2 a cup or whatever the serving size is, most nuts, it's 1/4 of a cup. This one says 28 nuts, which is kind of different. It says it's 1 ounce. But typically, most of them are measured in like 1/4 of a cup or 1/2 a cup per serving. But on these, there's fiber. So you're going to minus off some things from the carb. But what I wanted to get at is if you're just carrying this bag and you open it up and you're just eating nuts and watching TV, you have no idea how many you're eating. So again, I'm talking to people that are more in a stall. These are just some of the things to be mindful of. Your dressing, your heavy whipping cream, your nuts, your snacks. Are you like just eating out of the bag instead of measuring it? Because you're probably getting more than you realize in your intake. So let me show you how to read a nutrition label when there's fiber. So this particular brand of almonds, these are lightly salted. Make sure you stay away from like honey roasted. Anything that might sound sugary probably is. So anything honey, that's out, okay? Same with like lunch meats, guys. There's a lot of honey ham and stuff like that. You don't want that. You want to stick with like Black Forest ham. So just a little side tip. So you're going to flip this around here, and on your nutrition facts, for one, yes, you're looking at your serving size. For 2, you're going to look at how many grams of fat per serving, 16. So guys, this can add up really fast. 1 ounce is like not very many. So if you're just eating them out of the bag, that 16 ounces is going to add up real fast on top of the heavy whipping cream you threw in your coffee that morning. Okay, so it's just, again, being mindful. So down here, you're going to go down to the carbohydrate count. Carbohydrates, 5. Underneath that, it says dietary fiber, 3. So what you do for keto, if you're counting net carbs, is you're going to actually take the 5 minus the 3. So this is 2 net carbs per 1 ounce. Okay, does that make sense? If this was a sugar-free candy, which I don't have any, so I can't show you, but you can, if you have some while you're watching this video, grab it and you can look at what I'm talking about. So it'll say how many fat, how many carbs, how many fiber, and also sugar alcohols. So you can minus sugar alcohols and you can minus off the the fiber from your carbohydrates. So this would be 2 net carbs per 1 ounce, or 28 nuts if you want to count them out. Okay, so that would be another thing to watch for, is nuts. Now, pork rinds. Pork rinds are also a great snack. You will hear my strict keto people say barbecue ones are not keto because there's some maltodextrin, and I would agree with that. I would say that you want to be mindful of how often you're having these because of the maltodextrin. If you don't know what maltodextrin is, go watch one of my past videos about sweeteners. Guys, there's so many different names for sweeteners, and most of them are not natural. Most of them are very high on the glycemic index. And maltodextrin happens to be the highest one, and it actually is almost twice as high as sugar. So it's actually a really bad one to have. I don't have barbecue pork rinds very often, but I want to show you how to read the label. So this one's more going to be focused on protein because there's no carbs in this, but it does have the maltodextrin, and I believe that's in like the I believe the maltodextrin is in the powder that's the barbecue. I think that's where that comes in. It's not the actual pork rind itself. This one, you know, with keto, you guys, it's not a protein free-for-all. If you're true keto, if you're low carb, that's just going to be up to you. Everyone's body is so different. Guys, some people do more low carb with an emphasis on protein. Some people do more keto with an emphasis on fat. But keto is also ingredients. So there's a lot of variations of a low carbohydrate diet. Just got to find what works best for you. So this one, if you're keto, you've got to be also mindful about the amount of protein you're taking in. And this is a way to overdo protein if you're not counting. So in a 1/2 ounce, which guys, there is 5 ounces in this whole bag, which means there's 10 servings in this whole bag. So 1 ounce might be about 4 chips, maybe 5 if you're lucky. So it's a very small serving size, and it's 7 grams of protein. You see that? Okay, so 7 grams of protein per serving. If you eat half the bag, which would be really easy to do, that's going to be 35 grams of protein in a snack. So again, being mindful and counting. If you're counting, if you're at a stall, you need to count for a little while and see where you're over consuming. And it may be things like snacks or your heavy whipping cream in your coffee or sauces that you're using or salad dressings. Okay, so there's one more that I want to show you with sugar alcohol. Okay, so this is one I want to show you that does have sugar alcohol, so you can see how that you should minus your sugar alcohol off. Okay, so this is per packet of Keto Nat, which is a product that I've used for a while. And so here's what it says. Per packet, it has 5 net carbs. It has 4 sugar alcohols. Okay, so 5 net carbs, 4 sugar alcohol. So what you're going to do, and there's no fiber, what you're going to do is you're going to take your sugar alcohol minus your carbs. So there's 1 net carb per packet. Okay, so if you're doing net carbs, you're staying under 20 net carbs a day for keto or lazy keto. And low carb, it's just up to you. Low carb is anything under 100. So I have some people that say, gosh, I just don't feel like I can dive straight into keto or lazy keto at 20, but I'm going to start at 100 and I'm going to go from there. Now, I feel like if you're going to go up to 50 or even 100, you should count straight carbs. So you're not minusing fiber, you're not minusing sugar alcohol, but that's just my personal recommendation. And I'm not a nutritionist or a doctor or anything like that. So you just have to find, again, you just have to find what works best for you. And these are just some of the things that I wanted to show you that could be sneaking in and causing a stall, or just to show you how to read a nutrition label. That's one thing that I know that I didn't know how to do very well, and I've learned a lot of people actually don't know how to read a nutrition label for keto. Serving size is just as important as how many carbs and protein and fiber and all that stuff is in, and ingredients is very important. But again, don't get tripped up by the small things. Guys, this has maltodextrin. I still have them occasionally. It's just I'm mindful, okay? It's not something I'm gonna have on the daily because I try not to have anything with maltodextrin, but I might have them once or twice a month. Okay, so compared to the stuff I used to eat, that's pretty good. But again, I'm more lenient than a lot of people. I just feel like it's got to be realistic and practical and something that you can maintain for a lifetime. And if one ingredient means I can't have something for a lifetime, it becomes really restricted over time. So with that being said, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell so you're notified. We have new content every single week. You can check out trimketomomma.com for information on ketones, for ketogenic diet information and resources. And I'm just here to help. You can actually message me directly on that website as well, or you can comment below if you have any questions or you'd like to connect. I love connecting with you guys. So make sure you like, subscribe, and share. And with that being said, Trim Keto Mama is out. Thank you.